Yes, people, your eyes are not deceiving you. We are back with the Arsenal Agenda show. Yeah, the N5 haven't disappeared. I know it's been a while since we've seen them on the YouTube scene. Forget about their own channel. Even on here, they haven't been on. They haven't featured on channels. But guys, where the hell have you guys been?
You got to ask Charlie, to be fair, because I
Bro,
said
you
to
gotta ask
Charlie,
Aaron.
I said to Charlie, like, listen, we got to upload, and he just didn't want to upload. But let me quickly say,
Oh
Souls,
my day.
I thought I was high whilst I was like watching that intro, like that music. If I was if I had something and listened to that, mate, my head would be spinning. But
I liked it. I liked
that's
it. I
funny.
liked it.
But where have we been? You know what? After the Villarreal game, yeah, that's when we stopped uploading because I just thought I can't watch this team anymore. That hurt me. That loss so much is that I didn't want to do videos. I didn't even want to talk about the club. I don't know how Charlie feels, but I just thought it was so embarrassing when we lost that game, and in the fashion that we did, and just especially for YouTube views, the summer and the transfer window is perfect. Like, if we wanted to come back and like kind of up our views and get more active, that would have probably been the best time. But we didn't have an amazing transfer window. We got a few good signings, but it wasn't amazing. And just the way I felt about the club, it was like I was just upset with everything going on and didn't upload. But we're back now, and yeah, I don't know how Charlie felt. How did you feel, Char, about like
No,
Villarreal and everything?
I'm the exact same as you. Obviously, the Villarreal loss. Obviously, Emery beating Arteta, all of that. Literally, I didn't want to ever talk about Arsenal again. I don't think even us two together, I didn't speak about Arsenal all summer, really. I was just enjoying my life. I didn't really care about Arsenal. I followed the window, but all the rumours, I didn't really want to talk about it because if we're really honest, we didn't really make big moves towards the end of the window anyway. So, but yeah, like you said, yeah, if we wanted to come back for views or anything like that, we would have done it in the summer. But yeah, happy to be back now. And yeah, it's whatever, innit?
No, so obviously you've spoken about the transfer window, and obviously it's underwhelming in your eyes. But what was your expectation going into the summer window? Like, what did you want Arsenal to do as individuals? Aaron, I'll let you go first.
Souls, I do want to mention though. Do you remember like we was on StreamYard one time, like offline, and we spoke about the transfer window, and I told you, Souls, yeah, this club is not gonna go into the transfer window and be serious. And I know you was a bit more hopeful, but I do feel like what I said was right. I feel like we've made a couple good recruitments. So I think, me personally, I didn't say anything about Tomiyasu, just because I thought that maybe he could do a job. He might be good. I don't know him enough to even have an opinion. I said that Ben White was decent. I think I might be wrong on that because he hasn't looked amazing since he's been here, if I'm going to be honest. And what annoys me is that when people say, like, we got Tomiyasu in to cover up, his vulnerabilities. Well, if you're that good, you don't need to bring somebody in specifically to cover up your vulnerabilities. So we're going to still see how Ben White's going to be. And, I just wanted to say just on that, I just feel like I'm right about that specific thing about the transfer window being, lackluster. There's a few good players, but there's nothing that really screams in your face, wow, he's an Arsenal player now. I know maybe for you it was Odegaard. I know you're a fan of Odegaard, but he's decent, but he's just not what I wanted. I needed someone better at Arsenal personally. I don't know how you two feel, but that's my opinion.
All right, go on, Charlie. Then I'll have my say.
Yeah, go on. All right, cool. So yeah, pretty much what Aaron said, I pretty much agree with. Expectations going into the window, I did expect Xhaka to be replaced. Obviously we bought Lokonga, but we went and renewed Xhaka, so it's kind of like I still feel like Xhaka's first choice over Lokonga in Arteta's mind. Obviously, I will say though, and I know it's mad coming from me, but Xhaka, I think the other day against Spurs, that's his best performance in an Arsenal shirt.
Let's be real. When there's controversy and Xhaka returns, he's the best midfielder in the world, isn't he?
I mean, for Charlie to say it, or for me to even
Do you know
agree, he's got to be
for me
good.
to say that? Yeah,
I
no,
know.
to be fair,
yeah.
he was top quality on Sunday. I think that's a bit of Spurs midfield being awful as well. Let's not lie, but he was quality. But yeah, as for the window as well, I think with what Aaron said, the Ben White signing was. I think he's a good player, but I think that the price is still a bit high for him. Obviously, the English tax and all that, but I think Tom Yasu's been our best signing so far, and I think replacing Bellerin is, if not better, just as important as replacing Xhaka, because honestly, look at the improvement with the right back already. Do you
I
know what I mean? I
know
know it's early,
that's a
but
great point.
it was so important to replace Bellerin, in my opinion. So for the window overall, I think pretty much what I expected was done. I think a bit more was needed, but obviously, I think the squad is much improved on last season. I think this is our best squad in a long time.
Yeah.
Souls, just before you have your say, yeah, I just want to get on to what Denj just said in the comments
Is it
from
this one?
Sideline Talk. By the way, mate, it's good to see you. Hopefully that we can do something soon. I know you did message us months ago about doing something, and obviously we went AWOL, but we're back now. So if you want to collab,
Yeah,
you know, we're
I
there.
was just
We
going
want
to
to
say
get
Shout
there
out
are
them,
there are
shout out them.
segments where we get special guests on, so we can make something happen on here.
that
as
would
well.
be perfect. But
Yeah.
this
Definitely,
point, about keeping Guendouzi and Torreira, and you know what? I'm getting angry again, because if we would have had this talk in a transfer window, you would have seen how angry I was, just regarding the fact that you're keeping Xhaka, but then we're letting players go like Guendouzi, who I think is better than Granit Xhaka, and somebody like Torreira, who is miles better than El Neni. The fact that we have El Neni at this club still is beyond me. I can't believe that we're letting go of players like this yet. We're keeping players like Xhaka. I think Guendouzi is going to be a brilliant player in the future. I think if I'm mistaken, he's been playing very well at Marseille so far. The fans seem to absolutely love him and Saliba, by the way.
Yeah,
And
the players don't.
I'm,
The players
I know,
don't seem to like it, but
Yeah.
I know that Guendouzi, like might not be to everyone's taste. Like I know his personality might not be for everyone. I know that people think or say he has an attitude problem. I've definitely said that before in the past, but this is football. And when we're talking about levels, when we're talking about on the pitch, on the foot, like on the ball, Guendouzi is better than Xhaka. He's better than some of the midfielders that we have. So I just love to see us make a decision and see him back in the club. I know Souls, I know you think completely different to me. So I'd love to hear what you
you're
have to
happy
say
he's
on
gone,
this.
innit?
Right. No, for me, do you know what? I'll say it again, and I'll say it with chest. I've said this window will only know how good it is in 2 to 3 seasons' time, because that is what it is. It's a 2 to 3 season window. And I've said we could be looking back at this and go, you know what? You pulled off a masterclass here. Or we could be looking back at it and going, what the fuck did you guys just do? Because it could destroy the club, or it could make the club what it is. So that's what I've said, and I'll continue to say, and that is my stance. Like, you know, I do think what we've done is good. Would I have done it differently? Yes, I would have done Project Youth differently. I'd have gotten the likes of Basuma or Warren instead, who would have, not only do they fit that profile of under 23 signings that we seem to be wanting to do, but they'd also come in at 20 million, 30 million. That's your 50 million pounds right there, which you didn't really need to. I do think Ben White needed to come in. I just think Saliba, as good as we seem to be in League On, my question is, why did he opt to go to League On rather than a Premier League club? Arteta said, prove yourself in the Premier League and I'll bring you back in. But he opted to go to League On. So I'm not saying that's a mentality thing, but he has been doing good. But the same vulnerabilities that we're seeing so-called Ben White have is the same things that Saliba's struggling with in Marseille. And that's the thing. Like, aerially, I don't think Ben White's as bad as people make him out to be. Yes, he's not adopted and he's not been as good as a Gabriel or a Tomiyasu. But I don't think he's been bad. It's just when someone beside you looks so good, you don't look as good. And I think that's all it is for me. I know he's made a mistake, and I get that. I totally agree with that. But I just think when Tomiyasu and Gabriel, let's be honest, look fucking out of this world at the moment. And then Ben White just looks okay. So he's obviously going to look a bit like, oh, it's a bit underwhelming there.
I was saying that on Twitter. I was happy with Ben White. I thought we needed a lot of people were saying, well, why do we need a centre back? Well, we need a centre back. If I'm honest, I think we should have bought 2. We kind of did in Tomiyasu, because obviously he's versatile. He can play there, play at right back. And he has made mistakes, Ben White, and I don't think he looks. I hate speaking about players living up to the price tag, because it's not their fault that they were bought for 50 million, the same way with Maguire 80 million. But then from another point of view is that what else could you have done with that 50 million? What kind of player could you have brought in with that 50 million? Because I think there's a lot of good centre backs in the world that would have come to Arsenal for that kind of fee. So we'll have to see. Obviously, he's still young and he's fitting in.
The one thing that I want to say about this window that I have not seen this kind. I know it's underwhelming in terms of names, but one thing I do want to address, like, if we take the names and just put them aside, right, and just look at the player, forget about who they are. I actually think, we've finally seen a plan. It's not a plan necessarily in our image. It's not like what we want to see. Like we want to see Basumas, Awars, Madisons, etc. come in. But when we look at the players, what are they all bringing? There seems to be a common denominator for me. What Arteta players are. Like if we look at Tomiyasu, Ben White, Lokonga, Tavares, but maybe Odegaard's the only one I don't see this. But it's two-footed players. High footballing IQ, which Odegaard does fit into, but he just doesn't have a right foot at the moment, or he may never have a right foot. I don't know.
A lot of left-footed players don't develop,
Yeah, but it seems to be like very two-footed players, press resistant, good on the one-on-one battles. You've got very sort of athletes, but also aggressive at the same time. I know it sounds a bit weird, but it's also what BX is saying here. Guendouzi will disrupt because of a mentality thing. If we look at all of the players that Arteta signed and their mentality and the way they talk about the club, I think they want to be here. They feel it's a privilege to be here. And I know passion merchants aren't what we need, but I feel like for far too long we've signed players who just want us as a stepping stone. But these guys they don't want to be a stepping stone. They want to bring the club back to where it needs to be.
Do you know what, Souls? I agree with you.
Sorry, Aaron, let me just say, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro, sorry. I was going to say that's a very good point. With Arteta's beginning, with Lokonga, for example, you can definitely tell he's passionate about the shirt, he's passionate about Arsenal. And that's a great point. I think for too long, we've had players that have not the badge is too big for them, and I think like they're not fit to wear the shirt. And we've been getting smoked by shit teams too long. So, sorry, Aaron. Go on. I don't want to cut you there, but that's a great point.
No, it is a good point. But I was just going to speak about. Obviously, I understand that there's a plan. I do see what Arteta is doing in terms of that. It's just not one that I particularly 100% agree with. I do understand where he was going in this market, but then I also do feel like this plan has come about quite rapidly. I don't feel like. So if we look at what he said when he first come in, I don't really think that what he's done in this market correlates. I mean, you don't say you're going to... tell me if I'm wrong. He either said get in the Champions League or win the Champions League in 3 years. You don't say that and then start planning a project for the future. Now, for me, that doesn't make any sense.
No, but
I feel like best the plan for now, but then I feel like maybe in a year, that plan can change. And do you know what, Souls? Let me say something. Giving him this money and giving him the freedom to plan for the future. Now, if he is sacked in 6 months, that can do, I won't say irreversible, that could do about 5 years worth of damage to the club, because the next manager could come in and say, you know what, Lokonga, I don't think you're good enough. Odegaard, I don't really like you. Ramsdale, no, I think Leno's better than you. You're okay. This is because Arteta's done it with a lot of Emery players.
Mm-hmm.
So to assume that these players are just going to be here after Arteta's gone I think people are mistaken, because there's good players that we've had from the Emery era, but they don't get on with Arteta, and one of them was Guendouzi. Arteta doesn't. And it would be a massive shame if we went about the transfer window how we did, getting rid of the likes of Guendouzi. I think Saliba might go soon, if I'm honest. I don't know if he wants to play for Arsenal.
No, but he made a press conference the other day saying that I'm going to prove to why I am going to play for Arsenal. I do think he wants to come back.
I'd love to see him at the club, but let's say things do go pear-shaped. It'd be a shame, like if we lost out on those players just because Arteta was our manager. Because really, we could have the players that we have now from this market and them, and then that would be brilliant for the squad.
No, but on that as well, I think for me, when we look at the so-called signings that we made, forget about Arteta making those signings. I think what we've done is we've bought players who can play multiple positions within their position. So, like, for example, Lokonga can be a 6 or an 8.
Oh, he's a good player.
Yeah, or he could develop to be a 10. When you look at, for example, ESR, he can play on the wings, he can play 10, he can play interior, he can play on the 8. When you look at Tavares, for example, he can play on the left back, left wing back, or left wing. He's played all 3 positions before. When you look at Ben White, for example, another versatile player, he can play right back or DM, or obviously a centre back. Now, whether you rate their talent is a different story. Like, when you look at
I want to get into that next, by the way.
Yeah. Like when with Tomiyasu, for example, it's the same thing. Centre back, right centre back, left centre back, because he's so 2-footed. He can actually even go play left back if he needed to. Then he can play DM as well, which he's played all these positions before. So I think when people say what will happen to them because don't get me wrong, I'm not sat here saying Arteta's the future or he needs to stay at the club.
Yeah.
Like I'd be crying if he left or anything. But for me, I think these players have got enough versatility in their play for another manager to come in and maybe use them differently if they needed to do that. Even if you got, let's say, a manager who wants to play a 4-3-3, there's enough there to play a 4-3-3, maybe just buy a DM, and that's it. You're solidified. You can play that 4-3-3.
I agree, footballing-wise, but I'm just saying, like, he might not. So a manager, if a manager can come in and not like certain players, it can happen to these players as well. Like, but one thing I did want to speak about, because you mentioned it, so thank you for mentioning it, was about how good or high, how much we value our talent. And this is something I spoke about with Charlie. So I'd love to hear what Charlie thinks as well after this. But I think that we do very much overrate how good our young players are. Like, I understand that we have Saka. He's a very good player. ESR is very good too. But then when people talk about our young players as if they're the next Spanish golden generation, but they're not. And you're banking on, that's what, by buying into what Arteta is saying about Project Youth, you are banking on this team right now being able in the future to be top 4 level players, or even more than that, players that can possibly win the league. When you look at the young players we have, I don't think that they're going to reach that potential. And if they do, it would be nearly unheard of. Like, for players at now, because you got to think, like, do you think Saka's going to be one of the best wingers in the world, for example, in the future?
He could be.
He's the only one that you could say could be top echelon in his position in the future, in the top band. But even then, if he was to do that, that would be amazing, because not many footballers are world class or even at that top. Like, you're talking about the Manes of the world, the Sterlings of the world, the Neymars, the Mbappes. Even if like Saka can be a brilliant player in the future without reaching those levels, but if we're really buying into what Arteta's doing, you're buying into the fact that you think that players like that are going to reach, the upper echelons of football. I'm not totally convinced that ESR is going to be one of the best midfielders in the Premier League in the future. He could be, and I think he's done really, really well this season. And I think he's shocked us really, and I'm happy, and I hope he does continue that trajectory. But can you really say honestly in your heart, like, remove the fact that you're an Arsenal fan and you love Arsenal? Can you really like go in your heart and say, this youth, that the team players, I can really see them developing into a team that's going to compete for titles and compete for the top 4? Because I don't maybe top 4, but titles. You look at Man City, for example, or in United, their best youth player is better than our best youth player. And they also have a team with players like Kevin De Bruyne, Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Gabriel Jesus. I've just named one of the players that's not even the best, but he'd probably start for us. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
There's other teams with youth players just as good as ours, and they also have the senior players. So in terms of long-term, I just find it quite difficult to believe, really. But Charlie, like, what do you think on that?
Do you know what? I think you're being a tad harsh. I'll be honest.
You think?
Because I do actually think Saka can.
Wow, that's a first, isn't it?
Do you know what? I genuinely think Saka is actually like top level. Like, he can be top level. And Smith Rowe as well. I think Smith Rowe, do you know, like, obviously the great goal against Spurs and that. Like, I think he's still developing. I don't know who's younger at the two. Do you know? Is it Saka?
Saka's younger, yeah.
Saka's the younger.
I think Saka has a higher ceiling than Smith Rowe personally.
That's true, yeah.
It might just, in my opinion, I don't know if this. But I think Smith Rowe. I think your argument's more with that. I think there is players that haven't, like the youth players that haven't gone so amazingly. Maitland Niles, you could say, Nelson, them kind of players there. But
there's a lot in Gay.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'll be honest. Like, even Balogun, he hasn't really got a sniff in, but
you have to wait to see him.
When he's played, he hasn't looked ready, if that makes sense. There's so many players that have left and gone in the past as well. Like, that list is crazy, but. Yeah, I think in comparison to other academies as well, I think I've seen a bit of people comparing Haaland to Cobham, but let's be serious. Whose academy is better, Chelsea or Arsenal? Like, there's who's really
it's not even close.
Top level professional footballers and really made different level profits. But yeah, I think Aaron, yeah, with the Saka argument, I don't agree with you, but yeah,
Let me just clarify, because I think Saka can reach that level, but is it
I think he
guaranteed?
will.
Absolutely
He will.
not.
Yeah,
I just don't feel like it's
Foden could
guaranteed,
drop
man.
off, like Mason Greenwood could drop
That's
off.
true.
Like that's
true.
an if, buts, and maybes,
It's
isn't
true,
it? Like,
but
we
I'm
don't know.
sorry.
Yeah.
Like from what I've seen so far, in my opinion, yeah, Foden's level is much higher than Saka's. From what I've seen, like when I watch Foden on the ball, like he's a ridiculous footballer. Like the way he do it, like his ball, the way he retrieves the ball, like I just think he's on another level. Not completely, but I can personally
I
easily
think
say
it's
that Foden's
closer
better
than
than
you think.
Saka.
I actually think.
Yeah, I
closer
think
than
it
you
is
think.
because I think your judgment's coming off a bad Arsenal side, and he's the
I
standout.
agree, yeah.
Imagine if that was the reverse. Like if you, I'm not saying Foden
Yeah.
can't do what Saka did in the Arsenal squad, but if you put Saka in that City squad, he'd shine as well. Like just
I
probably
agree.
as bright and make. And
What
I
Saka
do
done
think
in Euros as well,
Yeah.
in the final as
Now,
well.
Saka's good. I'm not saying.
Yeah.
I'm not
No,
saying
I know
he's
you're not saying
shit
he's
or
not good,
anything.
but
I'm
I
just
think
saying,
when
like,
you say, when
I
you
just,
say that
but,
their youth
but-
is levels ahead
yeah,
of.
that's
I
what
don't
I'm
think
just-
I don't think that's quite like in my opinion. I know you think they are, but in my opinion, if you look at Saka from last season to this season, for example, you're starting to see him use his right foot a bit more than he normally does as well. He's no longer just
And his
left-footed dependent.
But wait,
He's got a bit
do you
more
think
to his.
Saka's been amazing so far this season?
No, but we know why because
is-
he's playing
I'm
on the
not saying
left-hand
amazing,
side.
but neither is
Alright.
Foden.
No, he's been poor. He's had I'd say one good game. I'd say like which was Spurs. Well, that was when he was on his natural position, like
Yeah,
where he actually
yeah.
should be playing, which is stupid of like Arteta to do that. In my opinion, I don't think you've got to play your best right winger, which in my opinion is Saka. Pepe. If Pepe is not suited to the left hand side, he's got to be on the bench, in my opinion. But let's talk about the youth. For me, yes, we do overrate them. Yes, we do hype them because the Highland boys, etc., etc.
And
I
it
do
hurts
think
them.
that. Yeah.
Especially, sorry, just 1 second. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Souls, because I'm gonna forget this. But there's that one player that everyone keeps speaking about who's from the academy now, yeah. And
Dino, innit?
you lot are talking as if right now he is Xavi or Iniesta
Are you talking about
coming up
Patino?
in La Masia.
Yeah,
Now, Patino might be a brilliant player, and by God, I hope he is in the future. He might be brilliant now, but the way you lot are talking about him and making accounts about him about a teenager, I think is a bit weird. But anyway, I think that please stop talking about him like he is like Xavi or Iniesta. Please allow the
It does look
boy.
hard, to be fair. It does look hard, but yeah,
but
I
so
agree
did
with you,
J. Emmanuel
Still too
Thomas.
far.
Nketiah looked like
Yeah,
the best
exactly,
under-21s player ever in the Premier
you know what it
League.
is, right? The one thing that people
So
forget.
what I'm saying
Yeah.
is, I'm not saying he ain't gonna be good. What I'm saying is, let the boy play his football.
Yeah.
You're gonna kill him. You will
100%,
kill him.
yeah.
Like,
You know
lot are gonna
what it
kill
is,
him.
right? What people forget, right? There is also a physical development you have to go through. You can't just
of
be
course.
on the ball. Yeah, he might be good enough to play for the Premier League, but the man looks like a kid. I'm sorry, like his whole
Yeah, he
structure
does,
looks
yeah.
like a kid.
He's still
His
young.
leg strength's not there. You know, his frame's not there. If he came into the Premier League, man would be out after a game saying, "Nah, fuck this."
We done it with Zalalem. Gideon Zalalem. We did the same thing. We spoke.
That is
We
fine.
said the next Fabregas. I might have been about 14 years old and posted that. I'll be honest, but I know he had a
Never me,
horrific
never me.
injury, and you know I don't know what could have been if that wouldn't have happened. But
I
he
think the
hasn't
next
lived-
one is Miguel Aziz because he's the only one with the physical markup to actually play in the Premier League. That's why I think it's a good thing we loaned him out, let him develop, get some first team football under him, and then we'll bring him in. At the moment, the thing is, right, we're in a state where we don't, as much as the youth have been a shining light, you can't put too much of them in either. We've seen, look at Brentford, for example. Why we had the youth players you wanted to see, but we didn't perform because it's too much pressure for too many young players to perform. And I think I think Saka ESR is a good balance. Like, okay, we've got two in that team from Highland. Cool. That's, I think, yeah, because
No,
like even
it's
City
good.
have that,
It's
you know,
brilliant to
Man
see finally
United
a
have that.
player
Where,
that most
like
as well.
two is a good number, but when you then want to add like Patino to that, add Aziz to that before you got loaned out, like I just think people get too wrapped up in this whole let's play the youth because the seniors aren't doing anything. But we know our seniors aren't good. We know they haven't stepped to the levels that we needed to. But obviously we can talk about this till the cows come home and disagree on it. But what I do want to ask you is, we've now seen in 3 games, obviously we've seen 6 games in the Premier League. We've seen 3 games where basically we've not really seen the so-called Arteta 11, yeah? Let's call it what it is. And then the last 3 games, we've seen the Arteta 11. As a lot of people say, whether he signed them or re-signed them or shown faith in them, and from those, from even if you want to look at last season to this season, I know it's 3 games and it's early to say, but have you seen something that if he could, let's say, do this consistently, that you could be like, actually, I could get behind this?
Miguel Aziz has just told you that Arsenal ain't back, so he plays for Arsenal. So
sorry, mate. Sorry, Aziz.
We've got
I never said that, man.
But you know what, Souls? Look, we had a brilliant game against Tottenham. I'm not getting excited because how many times have we turned up in a North London derby and then continue to be shit after? That's something that we're specialists at, and it is a derby. Any team can win that on any given day. I think we were terrible the first couple games. There was a game. Was it the Burnley game? What was the score of the Burnley game again?
It was 1-0 and Norwich was
1-0.
Yeah.
So I thought,
Both of them,
do you know what? I'll be honest. I can't remember which game it was. We did win, but I didn't think we were convincing. I didn't think we were good. It might have been the Burnley game because I was watching the Burnley game and I thought they could get a result here. And if they had a few more potent players up front, we'd have lost that game. We didn't, but people are acting like, we're 10th. Are we 10th? I think we're 10th. Yeah. I think we had a great game against Tottenham. Just because it's happened over the last 3 games doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future. And I've said this on many of our shows you could probably watch. I think the truth is always somewhere in the middle. We're not as good as we was against Tottenham on Sunday, because if we were, we'd win the league. We're not as bad as we were against at the start of the season, as bad as we were against, I thought we were poor against Chelsea. I think it was terrible. We're probably somewhere in the middle. So it's not top 4 level. It's not bottom 3 level. I think we will probably finish around, I said 7th at the beginning of the season. I think it will probably be I still think about 7th.
Now, go on, Charlie. What do you think?
Yeah, no, to be fair, what Aaron said is spot on. I think people say it's 3 games, but realistically, I think it's been 1. I think that the Tottenham performance has been our really only standout, amazing, proper, good performance. I think Burnley and Norwich, for me, they're standards. You should be putting them away comfortably. It shouldn't even be like an achievement to beat them. It should be normal. We're Arsenal Football Club. I know, we don't play like we're Arsenal, but I don't take massive accomplishment or achievement of beating Burnley, who were bottom of the league at the time as well. Let's not forget, they're crap. They're probably going to go down this year. They're fucking shit. Yeah. So we're Norwich. Let's be honest. 2 relegation contenders. I think Burnley. I think this might be the year they go down because they don't look like a Premier League team right now.
They look terrible, Charlie. I'll be honest. I haven't seen a Burnley
only beat them
side
with a set piece.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Weren't even convincing. Go on. Sorry, go on.
No. I was just agreeing with what you were saying.
Oh yeah, but yeah. What I said is pretty much all I was gonna say.
That's right. Souls, let me give you a question, obviously, because you think differently to us, and you know what? I just want to say on the side, a lot of people might think that me and Charlie agree on a lot of subjects. That's actually untrue. We disagree on so much about Arsenal and football in general that it's just because of where the club is that we agree. Because initially I was like, yeah, let's believe in him. But there was a point I was like, you know what, Char, I think you were right. I can't do this anymore. But
it took you a while,
going on to what you because I want to hear from you. So I was like, obviously last season, you was a bit more optimistic about Arteta. You've seen the transfer window. Obviously, you've seen us lose 3 games. We've been a little bit better. Where are you on that? What do you feel about Arteta now? Are you still utterly convinced by what he's doing? Do you really believe in the football we're playing? Because for me, it's not the results that's the worst thing. It's the football. Me feeling like I just want to switch off my TV. I don't watch us and think, wow, good. The Tottenham game was good. I thought we were brilliant. I also thought they were incredibly poor. 2 things can be correct. They can be incredibly poor and we can be brilliant. I don't want to take anything away from our performance, but I just think when I watch us play football, it's nothing special. I think there's teams that are in the bottom half of the league that play better football than us. I think, for example, Brighton play way better football than us. So
Leeds.
Leeds? So where are you on that? And like, where are you with Arteta? Because we've heard a lot from us on this show. I'd just love to hear from you.
Yeah, no,
That's a good question.
I'm in a position where like now I'm kind of willing to give him a bit of time. I'll be honest with it, because what the thing I know people hate that and like they think go like see you later. No, like for me, and I'll explain why. And I think the first 3 games, yeah, they were poor. I said it looks like he's lost the dressing room, in my opinion. It was that poor. Like I was like, yo, these guys aren't even fighting. Like there's no fight in this team. Like what the fuck is going on here? And I did get it. Like I was very like, what the fuck? Like because you can't go into a season and start that poorly. Like
it was terrible.
Yeah,
it was
like you can't get beat by Brentford. You can't get beat by Chelsea. You can't get beat by Man City. And it's a man that look, Chelsea, Man City. All right, yeah, you can accept a defeat if you play well. I'm not saying I want to lose. I'm not saying lose the game. I'm just saying if you, let's say, for example, we played the way we did against Spurs, against Chelsea, but we lost 1-0, let's say, you'd be like, you know what? All right, fair enough. It happens. Yeah, it's football.
100%.
Even if we did that against City.
Games, isn't it?
Yeah. It happened. But if the
100%.
performance is there and you're fighting and you're trying to compete, you'd be like, cool, it happens. But my issue with that was, I was like, fuck, we don't even look like we want it. The players don't look up for it. Arteta looks like he's stressed the fuck out. And then what's happened was he got his players back. And that is the simple truth of the matter for me. I do think context matters because he didn't have Ben White, Gabriel, Partey, Aubameyang, Lacazette were hit and miss as well. And, we were playing a very, very, like, sort of second-string team against these 3. And then what happened was he got his spine back. He got his core players back that he needs for his system to develop. Now, obviously, we've seen 3 sort of poor games in terms of who we've played. And it's very hard to judge whether he can do it. I think Brighton, the way they are right now in terms of just a good footballing side, it'll be a good test for him just to see whether he will be up for this and whether he can still compete. For me, it's difficult because I get why people want him gone, because 1/8 finish and then half a season, he obviously finished 8th as well. I think it is poor. The way that we got knocked out of the Europa League was poor. But again, I know it's excuses and I accept, people not wanting to hear this, but there were injuries in the first leg where you had to play Xhaka left back and, we didn't have Aubameyang, Lacazette. They're off.
Now.
Yeah. No, but I'm
Solz,
just saying. But
Solz.
no, because what you're gonna do is jumping to conclusions here.
Sorry, God. Sorry. My bad.
What I'm trying to say is those things that we've used as so-called excuses, right? Which I accept, it is an excuse to try and justify what happened. Like for example, when Partey goes, who do we really have? Now we've got Lokonga. Yeah, when Tierney goes, for example, now we've actually got a left back who can that's his place to play left back. We didn't have that. We were playing Cedric there. We were playing, God knows, basically we were rotating a roulette, like we were picking a name out of the hat and you play left back this game. When anyone was injured, yeah. And now we've addressed that. We've got a decent depth. I'm not saying it's world class or it's incredible, but it's good. Like it's like okay,
it's better,
Yeah, like the number 10, okay, we've got ESR and Odegaard. Let's say, all right, one of them gets injured, cool, we'll put one or the other in. You've got Martinelli, Pepe, Saka, Aubameyang can fill in there. You've got Balogun who can be called up. You've got Lacazette. So the depth and strength in the squad, it is decent, it's good. So he's got no excuses, in my opinion, to be losing, unless there's like 8 to 9 players out. Then you're like, okay, because that's a lot of players to be missing. But the football he's played in the 3 games, for me, it's shown me something different. Norwich, for example, like over the 3 games, he's accumulated, I think it was about nearly 70 odd shots in the 3 games, which we haven't done since 2017. It's one of the best shot returns that we've had. Yes, the finishing has been poor. And then when we look at Norwich, for example, we had 30 shots, in that game, which is the most we've had since 2013. Then you look at Burnley, it was one of our best defensive statistical performances that we've had for a very long time. And it was the resilience they've shown that, we've not broken this team down. We've not been able to get a very good opportunity and just batter them. But it was a moment of brilliance, and we won that game 1-0, which you are going to get throughout the season. Liverpool do it, City do it. You need those results to come your way as well. And then against Spurs, we've seen both sides. First half, we just put the game away. 3-0, then said, right, sit back. We don't need to go for it now. We can just relax, rest our bodies. We don't need to press as high as we are. We don't need to play with the intensity because we're 3-0 up. You don't need to go for the game at that point. Yes, it would be nice to just absolutely blow them out of the water because it's Spurs, but we didn't need to do it. And I think we're starting to see. Firstly, the mentality seems like everyone's taking responsibility for their own actions. But let's say, for example, a player makes a mistake, like for example, Ben White made that mistake, and then Ramsdale bailed him out in a way. It's no longer the blame game. It's no longer, oh, it's your fucking fault. Why are you doing this? It's like, no, we're playing as a team, and I like that. And what I'm seeing, it is positive. Don't get me wrong. Like, I know I'm talking about vibes and culture and mentality, but I feel like that's what you need to be able to then take the next steps. And I feel like his tactics are now starting to show a little bit more. Obviously, it's early to say because it's 3 games that I'm judging this off. But if he does it against Brighton, that for me breaks the first pattern, which is a big performance followed by a loss is normally what happens. But this will be a big performance followed by a win going into the international break is a pattern that we've broken. And then obviously if he comes back from the international break and then beats Palace, that's another pattern that we've now broken. So for me, all of a sudden, this whole season looks different. Obviously, it's if buts and maybes at the moment, and we can't predict exactly what happens.
Well, you're positive. You're positive about like you. Obviously, you're hopeful.
If he goes, tomorrow,
yeah.
Like I'm not sat here like, oh, he has to stay. Like, no way are we gonna.
No, it's not just about Arteta. It's about the team. It's about just the season. Do you mind just bringing up a comment? I'm not going to say his name because I'll butcher it, but it's the one about City and LFC dominate the ball and we win 1-0. Because I just wanted to make a point based off of what you were saying. So is that it says here, but City and Liverpool dominate the ball and win 1-0. We look ropey, and we could concede at any point. So I've read it anyway. But basically, he has a point because I understand you say about sometimes you need to grind the 1-0. You need to, you can't break them down. But that's Arsenal against a lot of these teams. And it's been like that for over a year. We don't go to Burnley we're not putting them away 4-0, 5-0, or even 2-3-0. City will have the game where they maybe even draw or they win 1-0 and they don't look completely convincing in the final third, but they dominate possession. We don't do that. Like, City might be winning that game 1-0, but as he said, they don't look like they'll lose that game. We look like we can win 1-0 and potentially lose the game against those teams. I mean, just look what happened at Brentford. That Brentford performance was an absolute disgrace. And I don't want to keep going over performances like that, but I still think that next week against Brighton, that can happen again.
It's not even next week, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, sorry, it's tomorrow. I forgot the game. Yeah, the game's tomorrow. Now, I'm not, do you know what? We're playing them tomorrow. Are you completely convinced? I think personally, we're going into this game like maybe a bit too confident. I mean, they've looked all right. They've looked decent. I mean, they're probably...
Yeah, as a fan base, I don't think the players are, though. I think that mentality is changing in the club, in my opinion.
They said that about Tottenham, though. They said we're too confident going into Spurs as well, though. So, but yeah, I'm not completely convinced. I think it's still early. It's still way too early to be completely on board with Arteta. It's still, do you know what I mean? But sorry, Aaron, I don't mean to hold you, but
no, I was
as well. About beating the pattern. I think what you said as well, going into Brighton after a big performance, going into win against the Brighton. I think the fact that Brighton's away as well is a massive point because whenever we have an away game, no matter how big the team is, I feel like we always struggle. I'm not saying we struggle every team, but I feel like we haven't gone to an away ground and convincingly battered a team in how long? Was the last time I genuinely can't even think of the team, but I think the fact that it's an away performance as well is definitely something it's a pattern I want to see broken as well. I think
it's the fear factor, Chai.
It is a fear thing.
We've lost. It's fear in both ways. It's fear, like we go away and we don't seem like to be confident, but also it's like we go away and it's not, Arsenal are coming to our ground. Like, it's more like, Arsenal are coming to our ground. Yeah, like they flop. Like they're not scary. Like we used to be that team where we used to go to grounds. They used to be scared of us, and then when they come to the Emirates or Highbury, it was even worse for them. But when we used to go away, we used to show that we're the better team. Maybe now we aren't the better team, and we've completely lost that fear factor of Arsenal are coming to the ground. Arsenal are coming to Turf Moor, even though generally Burnley are good at home. But I'm telling you right now, Burnley looked terrible. Charlton, we went to watch Charlton the other day. I think maybe even Charlton looked better than Burnley, to be honest.
And they're fucking dead.
Yeah, So I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Yeah, Burnley,
But Aaron,
you're
yeah,
going down.
I didn't mention as well. Aaron, we watched Charlton v Portsmouth. Yeah, Miguel Aziz went on loan to Portsmouth, didn't he? Am I bugging?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but
he
he
weren't
didn't
even
play.
in the squad.
You know
He's
what?
injured,
So
he's
it's
injured.
true.
Do you know
is
what I
he
mean?
injured?
You
Yeah,
weren't
he
even.
didn't
Yeah,
play.
he got
I
a
was
bit of
injured.
an
Fair enough. I was
I will
thinking
say
that,
though.
yeah.
I will say though that left mid. I forgot your name. Mitchell, I think
Curtis.
it was. If you
Curtis.
if you want to come to Arsenal, you're more than
What a
welcome.
baller.
Souls, go
Trust me.
on
Yeah.
YouTube or anyone if you want, because it was much better live than on the video. But on the
Right.
video, watch the goal he scored against Charlton. I'm telling you, Souls, in real life, the way he hit the ball with his foot, it was different. Like he thought he was Messi or Ronaldo when he done that. That's what I'm gonna say.
Banged
But
it
if you
top
want to
mid.
come to
I'm
Arsenal,
serious.
be my guest.
Oh, right. So obviously that leads on to like sort of the next sort of question for me is obviously we've been talking about obviously Arteta and what, but let's just say hypothetically, what does he now need to do to convince the fan base that he's the right man for the job? Like I know people think he can never be the right man, but what does he need to do? Like what is the expectation from the fan base, like from you two, should I say, that he now needs to deliver?
Win the game.
Play better football and win football games.
That's it. I think
That's
I
it.
can't
Honestly,
lie. I'm not close to the thought that Arteta can turn around and become a great manager, because let's be honest, like it's a results business. If he goes on to have a great season, win majority of games, proper turn it around, and the next season do the same thing and get us up the table, then yeah, of course I'm not gonna still be Arteta out because I was Arteta out last week. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, of course, yeah.
yeah, I think yeah.
But what's your like end of
football and the
season
win,
expectation,
yeah.
and where do you want Arsenal to be, or is it just the football needs to be better?
Both, definitely. I think the football has to be better, and I want to see us high up the table. I think the 7th, 8th, 9th is completely not good enough. It's unacceptable. I think
It is.
I couldn't even tell you my expectation because my head's scrambled. I don't know what Arsenal is right now. I don't know how bad we are or how good we are. I think.
All right. What do you want us to do then? Like, what would make? All right, if you've seen it, I'm not saying it would make you happy because obviously, winning the league title is what would make me happy.
Oh yeah, but what would make you happy, Chart? Like
Yeah,
realistically,
like that's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah,
happy.
Yeah, for this season, obviously to them build on it.
I don't know how unrealistic it is. I do think it's a bit unrealistic, but I think top 4. That's what I want.
Same with me, if I'm honest. Like
I want top 4. Like I think it is unrealistic. I'll be honest, because I don't think we will get top 4. The 4 teams in the top 4 are better than us comfortably. But I think anything below 5th, 6th, I think is a failure. I think even 6th is a failure. I think 5th is a failure. You know what I mean? It's a
like,
weird one, man.
it's context. Because let's say we finish, because obviously people will say if you finish 6th, you finish 6th. It doesn't matter about the context, but for me it does. So let's say we finish 6th, but we know we've competed throughout the season with a lot of the top teams. We've even got a few great results. Like we look better, we're playing better football. We just maybe look like we're three players off or 2 players off, like top quality players off of trying to do the top 4. Then I'll sit here and think, you know what? Yeah, like we look good. Like we just need to do the business in the window. But then let's say we finish 6th. A lot of other teams have been underperforming. We've not looked amazing. Like, then yeah, I want him gone because there is you have to. The context is more important than just finishing. But it depends. Like if we look like we're competing against top teams, it looks like this season is going to be one of the best seasons of the Premier League that we've had in years. You've got City who can win it. United have a chance of winning it. Chelsea, I mean, City and Chelsea are the favourites, but you can't exactly count out United and Liverpool. They have teams that can still win the Premier League.
Liverpool
have the manager in the squad. United have a really good squad. They signed Ronaldo. I mean, there's a reason they signed him. They want to try and go for the league. Yeah. All right. Calm down. Seriously, calm down.
Easily the best player.
Like it's good, and even like if you look at the teams below, I mean, Tottenham. They could be better without Nunes. Like, let's be honest, he's not going to be there long. Messi will probably get Pochettino. It's like Poch will go back to Spurs. It'll be that kind of story. But like you've got Leicester, those like these kind of teams are just below, the top 4.
Even West Ham
are competing. Yeah, West Ham, they're decent. There's a lot of good teams, and even the teams that aren't amazing, they're still playing at a good level. Like Palace, for example. They're still playing at a very good level. They have good players. You've got Zaha, you've got Eze. You know what I mean? Yeah, and he started really well. Even Brighton looked good. I think last season they played some good football, but they didn't get good results. I think this year they'll get better results while still playing decent football. So I think if we finish 6th and the Premier League lives up to the expectation in terms of the level it will, then I think that, we can look at something and be a bit optimistic.
All about context.
Yeah, it is. It's all about context. It is.
Yeah. No, I'll say it as well. Like I've said, 5th, 6th is my minimum expectation. If he can't achieve that, then he's got to go. Because if he's not going to do it now with sort of, I know people like, yeah, but if you spend money but you spend it poorly, it doesn't reflect the manager. But he spent 150 odd million.
He was back.
His players, yeah. He got his players.
Backed,
He asked for Ramsdale over Neto. He asked for Tomiyasu over Emerson. He asked for Lokonga. He asked for Odegaard. They both agreed to. And then obviously Lokonga and Tavares are the two that they're like, all right, yeah, the young players for development.
Yeah.
So he's gotten his players. Yeah. Yeah, and he's that's a different. Well, we'll talk. We can talk about that later.
Go. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
I don't want him to stay, by the way. I've never wanted him to stay, but this is what I'm saying. Like he's now made his decision. This is sort of his team, his squad. So for me, if anything below 5th, 6th is just like, yeah, you've got to get sacked. Like you've got to go now. Like after spending that amount of money, you still can't get it right. I'm sorry. Like this, I don't know when you will. A good cup run will do me as well. Like if he can do a good cup run, if he wins one, that's even better. But if he can get to like semi-final, and let's say we get knocked out by a very good performance by like a Man City or a Liverpool, then you're like, all right, cool. But if you say he wins, an FA Cup alongside getting 5th and 6th, I'll be like, you know what? This is like that's 2 major trophies, and you've achieved your league position as well. I'll be like, okay, maybe you've got it in you. You just need a few players to get there. They're the signs for me that will show, okay, he's showing me something. But I'm fair with it. Like if he can't get that, I'll be the first to say, yeah, he's got to go, because he's now, there's no excuses for it. But obviously we've been speaking about Brighton, and what is our expectation going into Brighton? Like what do we want to see to keep this sort of hope alive that, okay, maybe we're turning a corner?
We need to win. And you know what, tomorrow, I don't mind if it's an ugly win. Brighton have been playing well. I don't expect us to come out and smash them. That's not what I'm expecting, because they're better than people think they are. I actually remember watching them last year. I watched them a good few times. And as I said, they didn't get the results, but they looked decent and they were just missing a lot of opportunities. So even if it's a 1-0, I'm happy, because we just need a away result. And I want to win a game like comfortably. Even if it is 1-0, it's more about how we're playing, looking confident on the ball, dominating possession, shutting out their opportunities. Yeah. But they will definitely have opportunities tomorrow. They have a few players that can create chances. Mopai is obviously he's actually decent. So I think if we're talking about score predictions, I'll do 2-1 Arsenal. And
then the other question I'll ask you just before I move to Charlie is, who? Obviously now we know Xhaka's out for, it's reported like 3-ish months or something like that. Obviously, we'll never know until with recovery time and stuff. But out of all the options, who would you now want to see next to Partey?
Lokonga. Well, I mean, who else are you going to play? Some people are going to say Patino. No, I'm not joking. I've seen that on Twitter. They said, with Xhaka out of the squad, we can get Patino involved. God. I'm going to tell you this. If you think that you do not know anything about football, or you just don't know anything about... If you think that just because Xhaka's gone, Patino's going to come in and play, it's almost as if you want him to fail, or you're just living in a dreamland where unicorns are jumping over your head.
It's not career mode.
It's not. Yeah, even on career mode, I don't even think you could do that. Like, it wouldn't even be successful.
You'd be like 60 odd rated or something.
Yeah, but
but if you're trying to do your rebuild, trying to get his over up, you know what I mean? Well,
yeah, but I just think, because if it's not Lokonga, then who is it? It's on any. Now I'm not watching him play football again.
Fair enough.
Nah, jokes. He scored a few bangers, to be fair, in his Arsenal career. He had that one at Barca. He's had a few in the Europa League. So fair enough to him. He's done good. Like, he's had not just good. He's had like a masterclass of a living of football to play for Arsenal. Not be amazing, but he's scored a couple of good goals, and he's had a good career money wise, not maybe footballing wise, but fair play to him. I've got to respect him for that, because he's not. I wouldn't say stolen a living. I wouldn't say he's Bentner, but I think he definitely could be playing for a much worse side. Put it like that.
Yeah, go on, Charlie. Same to you. Like, obviously, who do you think needs to be next to Partey, and what do you think what do you want to see from the Brighton game?
Next to Partey, it's got to be Lokonga. I actually think them two together they complement each other. I think they work
Exactly.
well together. I think from what I've seen already, I know it's only a couple of games, but I do actually think they look good. I think they read each other quite well. Obviously, Partey's got that long pass. I don't know if you saw the pass he done it for Spurs towards.
Oh yeah. I think I know you're
It's a
talking.
long
Yeah,
ball. I
that
think
pass
it was
was
Aubameyang.
ridiculous, isn't
What
it?
a fucking ball, innit? Yeah, it's a great ball. But yeah, I think they complement each other, so it's got to be Lokonga. As for Brighton, what I want to see. I don't think we will perform as to the intensity and the passion we did against Spurs. Obviously, I don't expect that every game. I know that's a one-off derby. That means so much. But I do want to see somewhat close to that as much as possible. I do want to see. I just want to see some good football. I want to see some good attacking football as well. I want to see chances created. I don't want to see the typical one shot on target, and you know what I mean, like we'll barely even create a chance like we used to do. And I want to see us actually put pressure on them. And if we do go 1-0 up, I want to see us manage it well. I don't want to see us go 1-0 up and then they put the pressure on and then we bottle it. Like last time against Brighton when we fucking lost the whole game after going 1-0 up. I think they went and scored 2 in it, and you know what I mean. So I don't want to see that again.
Mopai got that goal in it. Remember that time?
Yeah, banger as well. Yeah, but
the season before last,
yeah. Oh yeah, it was. Yeah,
when Leno got injured.
Yeah, I don't want to see.
For me, this fan
again.
base just needs to not be embarrassing and call it the Mopai Derby. Like, just don't.
Yeah, what is this?
We should not be. We are Arsenal Football Club. Stop falling into this.
Yeah, last year it was bloody. Last year it was fucking like Aston Villa. This time it's
we
Brighton.
shouldn't even be. If Brighton want to do their banter, let them do it. We're Arsenal Football Club. We should not be responding. We should be like, let them do their thing in it. Like, whatever. That's how we should be as a fan base. Like, we should not be getting it. But for me, I agree. Like, I think a good performance, like, even if it's a 1-0, but we perform good and we show that level of intensity, we're creating chances, we're tearing them apart. Even if we win by a goal, I'd be like, all right, cool. But if it's like a very underwhelming performance and we're like, how the fuck did we win that game? I'd be like, this is back to square one again. Because I'm like, even though I
get what you mean.
Yeah, it's like, well, where did all that happen? Like, where did all those attacking patterns?
Yeah, but Souls, you can't expect us to be as good. Maybe we'll be that good tomorrow, but long term, game after game on game, you can't expect us to be that good.
I think against Brighton we should. Because
we need to come out with that.
They're more open.
We have to
team.
because they're going to be on it.
Like against a Burnley, I can understand because they're very defensive side. That's what they are, like very structured, stuff like. Whereas with Brighton, actually play football. So if you can't, because Brighton for me, are like a very crap City in a way, like where they play football, but the quality is not of a Man City where they've got like world beaters, but they play good football. So if you can't rip that quality, then when you come across a Liverpool, when you come across a Man City, what hope do you really have? So that's just all it is. It's just that's the basis I want to see. So I think for me, obviously, we'll get into our score predictions. For me, I'm going to stick to it. I said 2-0. If Ramsdale plays, if Leno gets ball back in, then we're conceding. But I'll say 2-0 for me. But Aaron, before I don't know what Charlie's doing. But yeah, Aaron, what's your sort of score prediction?
I think 2-1. I think we'll score. They'll score. I think.
Should we do scorers or forget that?
Scorers, yeah, I'm on the scorers. I think tomorrow he won't play Pepe, will he? Pepe because he hates him. I'm gonna go. Odegaard.
He hates him, but yeah.
I'm gonna go Odegaard. Odegaard and Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Son? Who do you think is scoring?
All right, so I said 2-0. Yeah, so I think
Aubameyang.
No, I'll have
because
to
you love him.
He's gonna be like,
Aubameyang.
No. You know what? I think. Do you know what the annoying thing? I keep saying this is going to be Partey's game to score, but he never fucking just fuck him. Then until he doesn't score, I'm not giving it him. For me, I think Aubameyang will.
He had a good shot against
Tottenham.
He did. That's the first shot I've ever seen him take, and it's nearly gone.
His shots are improving. Trust me.
100%. Now, I think for me, realistically, I think Aubameyang will get one, at least. I think.
I think
And then I think I just want ESR or Saka to score one just to keep it up. I'll say Saka assist, ESR scores.
Decent.
Saka assist. I think that's definitely the better part of Saka's game is creating chances. And once he adds like goals to his game, that's when I think we'll really see him like step up like a whole new level. Because once he starts adding goals, then he's going to be more of a complete player. And I really hope he does develop it soon because he's both footed. He has an amazing left and right foot. If he can add goals and use both, it's sort of like, Cazorla. he could score. Obviously, he didn't score like loads of goals, but he scored often enough for his position. If he can be like that, that would be then we'll be talking about like a player.
Go on, Charlie. What's your score prediction then? Who do you think is going to score?
You know, I say 2-1 Arsenal as well. I do actually think we will concede. I don't know. I think one of them players, because they do look threatening. Brighton do look actually decent. I do think they'll somehow get a goal. For my goal scorers, do you know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say Gabriel. A bit unconventional, but I think he will score one of them headers. And I think Aubameyang will carry on his goal scoring. I think he'll get another one.
You know what? Yeah, Gabriel's not a bad shout though. You know,
I know.
One of those
it's not, is it?
corners.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not.
I'd stick a fiver on that.
Yeah.
Might have to go have a little bit on that. Yeah.
It's nice to see people, by the way, for the chat. It's nice to see like the chat active and people coming in and watching, because we've obviously been gone for a long time. So it's nice just to be interacting with people, seeing people watching us, and thank you for everyone watching and stuff and
they're here for Souls, man.
I know they're here for Souls,
man.
especially. I know Talking Barca is watching, and he did say earlier, he was like, "Oh, how are you, Souls?" or whatever.
Yeah.
And every single show we've ever had, he never says, "Oh, how are you?" and M5, how are you? Like this guy, man, he'll never learn. But obviously, shout out to him for coming and watching anyway. But even though you didn't ask, I'm fine. Charlie's okay, and we hope you're okay.
No. This is we're gonna try our best to bring it every Friday around 7 o'clock. It might be like 7, 8, depends on scheduling.
I can do 7, mate. I'll talk work.
Yeah, brilliant. No, I'm just saying, if we have to do 8 o'clock or something like that, or we need to do an hour here and there, that's fine.
No,
like
perfect,
it'll be around there. But obviously, next week we are going to be on the N5 channel, so do subscribe on there. The link is in the description. And obviously, you'll find me on GoonerSulz. I am going to try and upload more. It's just, I prefer featuring, I'll be honest, man. Scheduling like shows and like, what you're going to do in those shows, it's just long at times. But it's fun to have like a weekly, maybe twice a week, I might stream here and there. But obviously, you guys have been gone for a long time. They've probably forgotten who you guys are. So where can they find you?
At the N5 on Twitter. We're still active on there, to be fair, because we do like to chat a lot of shit. And the other day, I must have said something like, I said, where are all the Arteta hours now? Obviously, as a joke, but Twitter doesn't know that. And if you saw the replies I got, like, it was a joke. It's funny. I'm going to do that again tomorrow if we beat Brighton. I'm definitely doing that, because it's just the responses are hilarious. But yeah, at the N5. And you can even follow my personal if you want, at Laws London. I've opened that up. I've made that a bit more suitable for the public. And Charlie, what about you?
Yes, obviously at the M5 on Twitter. I think it's the same for YouTube as well, the M5. Obviously more content coming soon, etc. When you look on our channel, there might be some cobwebs. It's a bit dusty, uploading in about 6-7 months, but
get a broom out.
Next week, the agenda's back on there, the best show in the world. And man, but I'm so happy to be back, man. Shout out Souls. Awesome. Appreciate it.
And you know
Souls,
what?
I know you're famous now on TFT and all that. Sorry, bro, but
yes. You know what, Souls? When we first met Souls, Souls, man. Obviously, Souls, big up Souls, because obviously he's done well. Like he's doing his thing.
No. I'm still the same person, honestly.
It's good to. Do you know what though? It's just nice to see people just doing well, going on the shows that they're going on. But in terms of your Arsenal opinion, I'll hate it probably forever. So we've always got that. No, but to be fair, Souls, I do think you're like, it's interesting because I do think your opinion is much more measured than it was like last year. I mean, last year you was going mad for it. The way you was twerking for him, mate,
I've learned it.
Mate. You was getting gassed. This guy was chatting about winning the league and that.
Oh yeah, no. You have to tone it down. You got to look at it for what it is. But obviously, it's been nice to have you guys on. Obviously, the show, like I said, show will be on Friday, 7 o'clock.
Can I just say one more thing? Sorry about our channel at the M5 is that we're gonna be going back to uploading the videos like in person. We'll do some stuff over StreamYard, but mostly it's gonna be me and Charlie back in person after a few drinks. Just talking about Arsenal like we did when we started. Because when we started, it was really well, and then COVID hit, and it just really like took the wind out of everything. And I just think like our videos were way better when it was just in person, and obviously me and Charlie, obviously friends in real life. So we're gonna be are we friends?
No,
Nah,
not
no
at
offense,
all.
no
Innit?
offense.
No,
I'm joking. But no. But yeah, like we're gonna be bringing them back. So watch out for that, and watch out for our Twitter. We're gonna be bringing some stuff back slowly, and we're also gonna be talking about things that have nothing to do with Arsenal. We're gonna be talking about, you know, some debates that we have personally. Like we always debate Messi, Ronaldo. I'm Messi, Ronaldo. We're gonna be doing some more of that stuff because sometimes, you know, when Arsenal are losing or it's getting bad, or you're saying the same things as everyone else, and you'd rather just have a different discussion. So we're going to be bringing that. So go subscribe there, go follow us, go follow M5, and we hope to see you there soon. And obviously, again, Souls, thank you for obviously agreeing to do this show again. Because if I'm honest, we just kind of disappeared.
No, this was a long time coming. Obviously, we're just getting our schedules aligned, but it is going to be a weekly show. Obviously, thank you everyone. I didn't expect this kind of turnout in the first show, but the chats have been lively. Obviously, I have been a bit away from my channel. I've not uploaded as much on my own, but no, thank you for the support. Obviously, everything from when I'm on the TFT, when I'm on Jess's channel, it's been amazing. Like it has been, honestly, the support and love that I get has been amazing. Yeah, you get the few odd trolls, but you know what? Do subscribe, do like, make sure you go over to the N5. We're gonna be on there next week. Maybe there'll be a different tone. Arteta out, Arteta in. We'll have to wait and see. But it's been good to get the boys back on. Take care, guys. God
Good night,
bless.
guys.
Peace.